My name is Emily Hurst, and I was a missionary kid to West and Central Africa. I was born and raised on the mission field, so I spent about 19 years on the mission field before I returned to the U.S. to attend university. My time on growing up as a missionary kid was honestly incredible. Probably one of the best life experiences my parents could have given me. I loved being able to meet so many people from so many different parts of the world and engage with people who had just such a different worldview and perspective on things, get to learn about different cultures, different religions. While I loved growing up overseas, it wasn't without its challenges. Missionary kids are not exempt from anxiety, depression, eating disorders, pornography addiction. The statistics, I think sometimes I've talked to kids and to parents, and it seems to be this common maybe perception that when we remove our kids from the United States and they're missionary kids, that those statistics might disappear, or they don't really apply to those kids. But if anything, they might actually be at a more increased risk of experiencing those things. And so there's just kind of a lot of pressure. I struggled immensely with some depression and some anxiety when I was in middle school and high school, and when I returned to the US, I had to seek counseling services for that. Missionary couples are also not perfect. Parents are not perfect. Just because they're missionaries doesn't make them exempt from the struggles that normal married families in the United States experience. And I think part of helping missionary families, missionary kids, and missionary couples is not only breaking down the stigma of mental health with missionary kids and families, but it's also normalizing it, recognizing that it's okay. A lot of people struggle. It's not normal for people to move that much and transition that much. We don't expect you to love every country you go to. We don't expect you to adjust to every culture immediately. Kind of creating that expectation that you're not perfect and you don't have to be perfect. And it's okay if you struggle. I know when I was a missionary kid and I was on the field, if someone had just said to me, you're not alone in that, and it's okay that you struggle, and we don't expect you to love being a missionary kid at every minute of every day, that would have taken a lot of pressure off of me. So really, mental health for missionary families, I really believe it shouldn't be a reactive thing. It should be a proactive thing. Missionary families should be aware of services before trouble even occurs. It should not be, this family went through this trauma, or this family is now really struggling. Maybe now we should be looking for resources. From the get-go, families should be aware of the resources that are available to them, and there should be more resources for them. Because the fact of the matter is, they will run into difficulties, and they will be intense. And that's not to discourage you, because I loved being a missionary kid despite the things that I went through, and I would not change any of it for the world. And I know my parents struggled with things, but I know that they love being missionaries and they loved raising kids on the field, but it wasn't easy. What my heart is to let missionary families know and missionary kids know that it's okay to struggle. And there are resources out there for you when you do struggle. And to sending organizations, I want you to know that missionaries go through incredible stresses. And mental health services need to be readily available. I grew up always hearing that the number one reason missionary families leave the field is because of kids. Things related to missionary kids. And if they could just have support, if they could just know that they're not alone, and if they could just have a safe place to honestly process through what they're going through, I truly believe that would be incredibly changing to the mental health field for missionary families. So if we can just create a safe space and normalize the need for that space, I think that would be a game changer.
Serving missions agencies is at the heart of MyCounselor Online. From very early, we were pursuing service of denominational sending agencies, and my personal background involves education that was focused particularly on member care, which, as you know, is the emphasis on serving the mental health and spiritual well-being of field cross-cultural missionaries. So for organizations like yours, we believe that partnership is central to our calling. We count it a privilege to serve churches and nonprofits across the globe, and the opportunity to begin partnership with any new sending agency is always a privilege. We have two options in place to serve organizations like yours. The first is called a direct partnership. That's simply where whenever you need to refer someone to us, we will bill you as they go through the process, but of course you get to determine all the details of the referral up front for their scholarship. Or we have what we call a managed scholarship program, where you can budget and plan for this with complete predictability, and once a month or a quarter we will slowly fill up a scholarship pool and then only use those funds when you direct us to, once again, only according to the directions that you provide in a referral. I would count it a privilege to get to speak with you about considering partnership with MyCounselor Online, because any chance we have to serve missionaries we think is vital to serving the kingdom. And since we're already on the same team, it would be a great privilege to help you serve your people.